I am the Senior Vice President of Global Business Development Strategy for Bionova Scientific. I have, responsibility of business development, so bringing in the revenue for both sides of our business, which we'll talk a little bit about, but then also the marketing team as well. I've been in this industry for over 30 years, so quite a long time, and having spent much of it on the licensing side, CDMO side of things with various modalities. I started off with a background doing some research in science, and then started working on the pharma and biotech side for about 17 years with one of the early companies at Sanofi, and then I was at Biogen for 10 years. But then shortly thereafter, really started getting into the licensing with Crucell for 5 years until we were acquired by J&J. Headed up the business development for Catalent Biologics as a Terumo BCT on cell and gene therapy side for a bit, and then also at Xena for many years as a CBO there. So many years working with global teams. Yeah, it's gotten much more difficult at Bionova. We actually kind of almost specialize in very complex molecules that we work with on the mammalian side, and we also have business on the plasmid DNA side that we have down in the Woodlands, Texas. I'll talk a bit about. But for traditional types of antibodies in years past, you could use a platform type of process and just standard CHO cell lines. Now we rely on multiple cell lines. Sometimes our partners bring in their own cell lines to work on, but it's really, push the boundaries and the timelines of development early on. And our scientists have to think about how some of the product qualities, the attributes of the molecules very early on, even in cell line development, as opposed to just kind of, thinking about it more from a manufacturability. So it's extended timelines. It's really forced a lot of innovation, and we can't rely on simple platforms. But the right types of organizations like ours, we're allowed to kind of work with these types of clients that have these very difficult molecules and determine what the best route and development is to get them into the clinic and manufacturability. And that's also the case on the plasmid DNA side as well. So we have a stack of technologies that we use with Synex and Scarab Genomics that really help put us at the forefront of getting very good, high quality product for our plasmid DNA manufacturing, development manufacturing as well. And that facility is newer for us. And so it's put us at the forefront with that. That's really useful for us. Yeah, in the past, the bottlenecks really were just trying to get with manufacturers that could produce it. And now it is much more of a critical raw material for viral vectors, for cell therapies, for gene editing platforms, for mRNA as well. And so capacity now is not as much of a bottleneck, and it's more about the types of technologies that are really available now to produce really high quality products with very good titers as well. And what we're finding, and depending on the type of development that is being done, oftentimes they need to consider these qualities a little bit earlier on. The regulatory aspects are changing with gene therapies as well, and mRNAs, and what type of plasmid DNA is required for that. And so it's challenging clinical developers like us at Bionova on, where do we need to provide, or where are our clients needing plasmid DNA earlier and higher quality earlier on. So it's less about the bottleneck. It's more about getting the right product early on. That's really critical. And to solve for predictability, not just capacity, has a significant competitive advantage that we have, I think, in some of the quality that we have. Clearly, I think one of the biggest impact was COVID, where people really started to think about the geopolitical situation, the impact of having product available, raw materials available, locally sourced, so that they can continue to produce that. And that's not only within the biopharma area, but in many other industries as well. But particularly within our industry, it was really important to find organizations and companies that are based in the US and Europe for ease of access. What I do see oftentimes, though, right now still are companies that are doing some of that early development over in Asia, and then want to come back to the US, for instance, because as companies like Bionova, we understand the regulatory process and requirements for the FDA, EMA, and are really familiar with that. And oftentimes it's important for those, our partner companies, to have development manufacturing that's done that would be applied to critical clinical trials that they're working on. So it's, it's a balance, I think, right now, where some companies want to have some of the speed that's being produced out of Asia, although we're becoming more competitive in the US and Europe as well. Obviously, cost is still an advantage sometimes for companies for doing things over in Asia. But they also like to have the flexibility of being very close. For our particular facilities, both in the San Francisco Bay Area and then also the Houston area. There are lots of biotechs that really have that ability to be very close to our facilities, and they can literally drive down, particularly to the Fremont facility, to do that. So we're seeing a little bit of both. We have one client right now that we're working with that has a program in very early development in Asia, but now wants to tech transfer their manufacturing for phase 2 into the US. And so we're working with them on that. Yeah, very excited about this year's Bio. We have a great booth at 5519. We're going to have some really good coffee there, as well as espressos and anything else that people would like to have. So please stop by. But we'll also have lots of good information about our ability to do development and manufacturing for our plasmid DNA from our facility in the Houston area, as well as the mammalian work that we're doing in Fremont for clinical GMP manufacturing. So visiting with both our current clients and prospects that we're going to be speaking with. It's a great opportunity to meet with old friends and new. And we're also sponsoring a great reception with C14 Foundation on Wednesday evening. So for those that are interested in learning more about that, stop by our booth at 5519, and looking forward to a great show this year.